Hello, Julian. Another log entry into your diary to listen to your higher self from the past in the future. Alright, today I was thinking about a topic, and to summarize it, it's about early childhood, how it influences your own development, and how your own development influences how you educate children. Because there is a deep connection. Alright, in early childhood, between the years of, let's say, earliest 2 years until probably 8 years, is an important time. The time of individuation from the mother. Individuation in general goes lifelong, and it means the process of becoming oneself, separated from the mother in some cases. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? And in the early childhood, already there is a lot decided about who you are. From the religious perspective, if we go to the scripture, it is described this way. Before you have been created, before you have been placed in your mother's womb, the Lord already knew you. The Creator, God, He knew you before you was created and placed in your mother's womb. And I do believe that in this early period that I mentioned, 3 to 8 years, let's not lie about it. Everybody is traumatized in his childhood in one or the other way. The first trauma that you go through is to realize that you are not your mother in the beginning. Even when you are born, you are coming into this world, you still think everything is one. You are one with mother. There is still no separation in your mind. And then at some point you realize, there is two. And this is your first trauma, basically, to understand that you are not your mother, and you have to understand yourself. And in this moment you gotta create also your own self, right? Because otherwise your brain can't work anymore. So and in this early stages, then between 3 and 8 years, we get through multiple trauma, depending on our childhood, and then we can basically make an important choice going one or the other way. So there will be a crossroad, and one way is the way of the empath, and the other way is the way of the narcissist, brutally speaking. The way of the empath would mean that the person does their heroic deed to decide to save his authentic self at all costs, and tries to please everyone and meets everyone's requirements, try to read what other persons want, and using all intelligence in emotional way. This is why when emotional intelligence is built, because you will learn to socially interact and basically knowing what happens in other persons, what they want. It's about empathy. You learn to be empathetic, basically. And once we're on that topic, I can give you a small idea from myself about empathy, and I want to tell you that I have not read any books about child education yet, as well as my idea about empathy is also just my own experience and thoughts and research, so to say. I do believe that empathy comes from two different main directions in evolution. One is hunting, the other is social living. So if we take the example of a lion, they have both, lions are hunters and they live in pride, they're living social. So it makes sense to invest intelligence, which needs a lot of energy, because the lion will get paid for it. If he is intelligent, he can live better in the pack, he can survive better, because he has to understand, is this my friend, is this my enemy? Does it make sense to show aggression? Does it make sense to show devotion? Do I attack? Do I back off? Do I hide? Am I silent? Am I loud? All these things, live in social life. Who's my friend? Who not? Who to stick with? Yeah. And at the same time, hunting is another way where empathy comes from. Because if the lion wants to say, I want to hunt baboons today, he will have to kind of project being a baboon, like he has to put himself in the position of that animal that he wants to catch, and he will have to think, what would I do if I was a baboon? And if he wants to go for water buffalo, if it's a really strong one, he will think, okay, where will I be as a water buffalo? How will I behave? Where will I feel very safe and exactly attack at this position? And I know this because I was hunting octopus. And octopus is a very intelligent animal. They have something in common with us. They are very vulnerable like human beings, like monkeys. And thus they need intelligence to make up for it. And if you observe octopus, they are hunters themselves. And they also have, for me, they are like physically embodied empathy, because they can completely mirror any animal they want to, whether it's defensive or because of aggression or whatever they do. They can take the shape of the other animal and copy the behavior. And as well as when they hunt, they are very smart. And, when they want to catch a crab, they will think, okay, what would I do if I was a crab, So I think, and I know it because I was hunting octopus, and in order to successfully hunt them, you must kind of think like them. And they are very, very clever. So it's not easy to catch octopus if you are new to it, but the better you learn to know them and their behavior, and the better you can, it feels basically you become an octopus when you do this in some way, because you study them, you learn, sometimes a formation of fish that you see underwater tells you there must be an octopus that is very well camouflaged and hidden. But there is other ways to find them, of course, like knowing to spot their homes, because there are typical patterns of stones around them. But yeah, I just knew that this can also be the beginning of empathy, and both things work. Both things need emotional intelligence. Hunting, because you become, you need basically more intelligence. The hunter should be more intelligent than the prey. But then there is co-evolution. Then the prey has to get more intelligent or intelligent too in order to be able to escape. So, but this, and then the prey has to think, okay, if this lion hunts me, what will he do to hunt me? And this is why empathy also comes from the relationship of prey and hunter, but also from social environment and interaction, of course, in prides, packs, groups. Right, and this pairs of empathy the children take in an early childhood and save their authentic self, what they also use to be empathetic, because they basically learn how to put themselves in the position of anything around them. So they become very flexible and morphable like an octopus. They can take any shape, they can go in any person's position. And this is good for intelligence, especially emotional intelligence. And then we have another path, and this is when they close inside and lose their authentic self. They become narcissists or some other kind of cluster B thing. Could be borderline as well, or maybe sociopath. All right. We don't hope for that. And that means by the child in a last resort, it's not funny, it's not an easy sacrifice, but they will be so disappointed, so frustrated, feel so rejected, that they say, all right, I'm giving away my true self, my authentic self, and because I don't want to be hurt again, I want to be invulnerable now. And then they create their own false self, and this is a shield, this is invulnerable. So Sam Vaknin, a self-admitted narcissist, he describes narcissism as a shelter. It's like this is not what he said exactly, but I think it's like if you are a snail, the snail has this house, or a crab that has hiding in a crab house. It's like this, something you can retreat to. It's invulnerable because it doesn't feel pain. And then by trial and error, these children learn to adapt abusive behavior as well as victimhood. And once they become older, when they become older adults, then this will be so deeply within them that it can hardly be removed. Then they will completely justify any abuse that they do by saying, oh, I'm a victim myself. And what happens is, by the way, it can be because their parents are not caring enough for them, not giving them unconditional love, beating them, rejecting them. But as well, we have to understand that pedestalizing a child is just as destructive. And that is because the child will then only get attention and so-called love when it performs in a way that the parents decide. If you have good graduation at school, if you tell me a great story, I will give you attention. But it is bound to that condition. And then the child becomes liars, or they start to just tune the story a little bit, make it a little bit more exciting, making a little bit more great. And little by little, they become master manipulators. And also they will, because they do not go the way of putting themselves in the position of others, they are not really committed to life. They are not really investing in relationship. And then they will see other people being open and nice and ready to give. They will see this as an opportunity and as a weakness, basically. And they will just take what they can until the other person realizes there's something wrong or doesn't realize it, and then becoming a source for narcissistic supply. And this is just by trial and error, The children will not consciously say, I'm becoming an abusive person, I will become toxic for social environment, for society. No, it will be just a brain working. In this case not so emotional intelligence, but intelligence, working like, what do I do to get the reward? And then trial and error, and this establishes behavioral patterns. And again, when the person will be grown up, it will be already so deeply into this pattern that whenever it's being made accountable and you say, hey, you're abusive, hey, that's not okay, that's not cool, you didn't learn the golden rule at school, the person will say, hey man, but I'm a victim myself, look at my past. Sort of switching of roles all the time. So, hey, you are abuser? No, I'm the victim. Oh, okay, you're a victim. Oh, I'm so sorry. What can I do for you? Oh, let me abuse you. Okay, you can abuse me. And then, hey, that's not cool. Oh, yeah, but I'm a victim myself. It's circle repeating. Yeah, so this is the narcissistic side of the crossroad. But on the empathetic side, we also already see this heroic trait in childhood. The children invest and commit to life and try to really go the hard ways. They go the hard ways, the long ways, the long-term goals. No shortcuts, no easy ways out. They say, okay, I want the real thing. I will invest. I will do the impossible. And the others will go all kinds of shortcuts, easy way out, short-term reward. But both of them using intelligence, and both think they're doing the right thing. Yeah, and that's it. And if you are the big brother or the father or the big sister or the mother of children, and you want to educate them, you want to teach them rules and values and principles, all these things, you need authority, and you only have authority if you can do things by yourself. I've said it in videos before, it is important for children to go through frustration, especially for men, but of course for all of them, and not easing the pain in frustration. When they go through frustration, they cry, they have a negative, so-called negative, but everything is positive, experience. You should not put them out of the frustration by rewarding them with sweets or computer playing, watching handy or TV, because this is an external source of dopamine, nothing else. And if they get an imbalance in physical body chemistry by frustration, and you balance it by an external dopamine source, you support abusive behavior in the future, and you support addictive behavior. I also made videos that addiction and abusive behavior is just the same thing, because if you don't get the substance, if the child will learn, okay, if I am raging, if I am frustrated, I will get sweets or playing computer or watching TV. If they will not get that substance, that sweets, they will get angry and terrorize someone or make somebody feel bad in order to regulate their emotions. So they become addicted and abusive, which goes together. And this is where you have to accompany. The first thing is you need to do the same thing. If you know how to go through frustration without external rewards, without drinking, without smoking, without anything, eating a good ice cream is absolutely okay. Chocolate. If you don't do this yourself successfully, repeatedly, if you have not implemented this in your personality, if you are, and the same applies for everything. You teach them sharing, you teach them caring, you teach them emotional control, everything. it only works if you stand behind it because you mastered it. You do it every day. You know what you're talking about. If you can't do it, you can't teach it to the children. They will understand that you're just talking, You're just talking, but you're not doing the same thing. Alright, that's it, I was today. It's Monday. I have my children with me. This is just for my diary, okay? If you watch this video, I'm sorry for you. It's for me. I have my children today, Monday. I was doing workout and 10-mile run, and I try to do it daily. I do it like 5 times a week, even if the children are with me. I try to keep this up because it helps me, and I still do the video. I have a lot of things to do, and now I will go on in my daily routine, and I'm not bored at one time of the day. See you in my next video, Julian.